Are you stuck and frustrated? It's probably because you're not asking for help. Asking for help should be a superpower, not a weakness. If you grew up how we grew up, you were taught you don't want to ask anybody for anything because you never want to owe somebody something. We were also taught that you can figure out everything yourself. We're going to break a curse and we're going to set a lot of people free. We want to make asking for help your superpower. We was told not to ask for help. Asking for help is a sign of weakness. And guys, that's not true. Asking for help has set us free. Asking for help has gotten us to the next level. Asking for help has made us better people. If you watch until the end, not only will your spirit be blessed, but you also will put your family on an upward trajectory because we're going to help you guys. Welcome to another edition of the Expose and Expand podcast show. I'm the man with the plan, Jeremy Mathis. I'm Joshua. I'm going to give you the game, Mathis, and welcome to another edition of the Expose and Expand podcast show where we expose you to the ideas, the strategies, the struggles, the failures, the people, and the experiences that have gotten us from zero to millions. Are you stuck and frustrated? It's probably because you're not asking for help. Asking for help should be a superpower, not a weakness. If you grew up how we grew up, you were taught you don't want to ask anybody for anything because you never want to owe somebody something. We were also taught that you can figure out everything yourself. When something is completely wrong or goes against great advice, my wife says, woo, child. So I'm going to say, woo, child, because that is completely wrong and that's going against bad advice. In today's episode, we're going to break a curse and we're going to set a lot of people free. If you watch until the end, not only will your spirit be blessed, but you also will put your family on an upward trajectory because we're going to help you guys. The outcome of today's show is very simple. We want to make asking for help your superpower. Let's get exposed. Guys, before we jump into the episode, don't forget, man, do us a favor. Make sure you guys subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like and hit a follow button if you're looking or watching on any of the podcast players. So, man, we greatly appreciate you all support. Now, let's jump right into it. As Jaron mentioned, asking for help should be your superpower. For us, that's a valuable lesson that we learned over the past couple of years, and it has served us well with making asking for help our new superpower. But one thing I want to start by saying is I want to talk about why people don't ask for help. You mentioned when you opened the way that we were raised. You said that, hey, we was told not to ask for help. Asking for help is a sign of weakness, and guys, that's not true. We're living testaments of that. Asking for help has set us free. Asking for help has gotten us to the next level. Asking for help has made us better people. Yeah, it's facts. So as Josh alluded to, us growing up, just like I'm sure so many people, we was taught don't ask for help because you bothering somebody. And that's the wrong belief to have. And one of the things that I had to learn when I broke that curse is I'm not bothering somebody until they tell me I'm bothering them. It's always a false belief that most people have about asking for help. And today we're going to break a curse. We're going to really help a lot of people. And first, one thing that I want to do is give a shout out to Beth. So we have a mentor. Her name is Beth, and I know she watches all of the episodes. She's been very instrumental in the development of me and Josh. And one of the things that she taught us was that, gosh, it's okay to ask for help. She was the one that taught us that, and she was the person that helped us break free from that bad mindset. And in this episode, we're going to be Beth for you guys out there that think asking for help is bad. We're going to help you guys out today. So shout out to you, Beth. Thank you. We really appreciate it. Yeah, shout out to you, Beth, man. Thank you so much. But besides, is there anything else you can think of besides how the way a person was raised on why they don't ask for help? I think it's ego as well. I think a lot of people let their ego get involved and they allow their ego to take over. Because that's the only reason why I could believe somebody's not asking for help outside of them having the wrong belief that, I could do it myself. I don't need no help. I don't need nobody. And that's just all ego driven. So I think that's one of the other ways, the other reasons why somebody's not asking for help. Do you ever think we were ego? Do you think for us it was more ego driven, or it was just more so the way we was raised? I said, it was either or. I think it's either or for people why they don't ask for help. It's either how they was raised and their belief that they have, or it's ego. I think for us it was just how we was raised. You was always taught, but don't ask nobody. You don't want to owe nobody nothing, so don't ask for nothing. You don't ask for nothing. And that was the mindset that we had growing up until Beth set us free.
Yeah. And then you really think about it, like we used to live our life thinking it's okay, man, we'll figure it out. And I look at our life and how long it has taken us to get to where we are. And then I think about, like, man, if we would have just asked for help sooner, if we would have asked for help earlier. So guys, like, take heed to what we're saying in this episode. Like, we want to set you guys free how we've been set free. And as Jerm mentioned in the intro, asking for help is our new superpower.
Yeah, facts. So I want to segue into just giving people examples of how asking for help has helped us elevate in our lives. Yeah. And this is something that has been really, truly inspirational for us when we reach out to people and they reach down and they pull us up, because that's exactly what's happening. Can you think about a time that you asked for help and it was very transformational in your life?
Definitely. I think this one thing that comes to mind, and it was something that applied to both of us, was the redevelopment project that we did. So if you guys don't know, Jerm and I, our core business is real estate investing, and we owned a property in Miami, Florida, where we live, that was literally you can throw a rock and hit the airport. That's how close we was to the airport. So we purchased this property while we were in college. We were dead broke. We didn't have any money. It was through the tax auction. What was the tax sale? And we ended up buying this property, and it was completely dilapidated. We didn't know what to do with it. So we owned it for a few years. And at the time, like I said, we were young in our real estate career. We didn't even, for us, it was like we wasn't even started investing into real estate when we purchased that property. And when we ended up, like I said, buying the property, we was getting ready to sell that property, right? So we was getting ready to sell that property. We ended up talking to one of our mentors, and he helped us understand, one, the value of the property, and helping us understand that you need to know what's going on in the area. But more importantly, when we decided that we wanted to redevelop the property, there is a process that you have to go through. And within that process, you need to hire a land use attorney. So we didn't know any land use attorneys. And this mentor that we had, he's a big time developer. He ended up introducing us to the attorney that he uses for all of his development projects. So not only did he introduce us to a great attorney, but he got the guy to do the work for free for us. So we learned through this process, and we also saved about $10,000 to $15,000 in costs simply by asking for help.
Facts, guys. That $10,000 to $15,000 was very helpful for us, because when you're doing development, you need that attorney that Josh talked about. And because we just said, hey man, we're between the rock and the hard place. He knew we were broke, and he helped us out, and he got the guy to do us a favor and to give us a lot of free work, which was very helpful for us. And that wouldn't have happened if we didn't ask. A lot of things in life don't happen simply because people don't ask. And for me, I want to give you guys another story to help that how asking for help truly transformed our life in business and also in our real estate investment firm. So one of our mentors, Lopez, you guys have heard us talk about him on several different episodes, and we wanted to do more real estate deals. We wanted to flip more houses. We wanted to buy more rentals, but we realized we had a problem. We knew what the problem was, or at least we thought we did, but we needed more insight on trying to figure out how we could accomplish this goal of buying more properties and doing more deals. So we asked Lopez for some help. He gave us some time on his calendar. We went into his office, and he broke down our business in literally 10 minutes. And within 10 minutes, he was able to figure out, guys, your problem is that your money cost is too high, because at the time that this occurred, we were paying investors a return on their money. So we would pay them 2 points and 12% on their money, plus give them a percentage of the profits. As we were doing the business, and I mean, as we were talking with Lopez, he said, gosh, your cost of capital is way too high. Your cost of capital is going to put you guys out of business, or it's going to keep you stuck and keep you guys in the same place. What I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce you to these guys that they just sold their business, and I think you guys may mesh well together, and I think it may be a symbiotic relationship that's beneficial for both of you guys. He put us in contact with a family that has now been our number one lender over the last 4 years that we've done real estate deals. They've given us millions of dollars, and all of that happened because we were vulnerable and we asked for help. and trying to get a problem figured out, as opposed to doing what we were taught growing up, which is don't ask for help and figure it out yourself. Guys, asking for help will change your life. And we want to keep saying that because we understand how powerful it is.
With that example, guys, that has been by far one of the biggest value adds in our life and in our business. We can do more deals. If we're doing more deals, we can make more money. Yep. If we're doing more deals, we can employ more people. If we're doing more deals, there's a lot of things that us asking for that one piece of advice opened the door to so many different opportunities for us and for so many other families just by us asking for help. Another story that comes to mind, and Jaron mentioned Beth earlier. She's one of our mentors, and we talk to Beth often. And this was maybe a year or two ago, where we needed to bring somebody on, and we needed some additional help in the office. Jeremy, if you guys know Jeremy and I, we're great starters, but the whole organization thing is not our forte. We're not organized at all. And the sign of a great leader is they know their weakness, and that's one of our weaknesses. So we needed somebody who can come in and help us with our SOPs, someone who can help us build our processes within our business. Because we talked about this on a previous episode where we was just making money, but there was no system, there was no process. So Beth ended up introducing us to Lori, who now is, she's really part of our family now, and she works with us. So we met Lori through Beth, and Lori now is an integral part in our business. She's taken so much off of Jeremy and our plate, and she allowed us to operate in our level of greatness so that she can do the things that we're not good at. But all of that happened simply because we asked for help. We went to Beth, we told her what was going on, and she knew that Lori was looking for something new, and Lori wanted to change in her career. She ended up connecting us, and now we both are, meaning us and Jeremy and I and Lori, we work well together, and we're doing great things together.
That is another great example of how asking for help has really helped us, guys. One of the things that really set us free was I think we got tired of just beating our head against the wall, and we also got exposure to it, right? The whole premise of this show is exposure leads to expansion. And I asked myself, the people that are out there that don't get exposed to this life lesson, what's happening to their life? Yeah. What does their life look like? Yeah. You guys are listening to something that is going to be very transformational if you take heed to it and you apply it to your life. And the reason why I keep stressing this, because I know I've said it multiple times within the last 12 minutes, is this is something. And the reason why I said it multiple times is because this is something that Beth had to do for us. Beth had to get on us multiple times, and she had to teach us, guys, it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to be vulnerable with people and let them know your struggles. That's the only way that you can get the advice and the help that you need. So I want to keep harping on that so that you guys can leave this episode and know that it's okay to have somebody change your life, because we didn't understand that. We didn't believe that. But we had somebody that was on top of us, and I'm going to be on top of you guys for the rest of this episode to make sure that you guys understand how imperative it is to your life. In the intro, I said that if you listen to us and you take heed to this, you will put your family on an upward trajectory. I'm speaking from experience when I say that. We truly have put our family on an upward trajectory just by removing a limiting belief that asking for help is bad and that I'm bothering somebody, and saying that, you know what, I'm going to do it. So you got any other stories about how asking for help?
One thing that you said that really resonated with me was that we got exposed to the importance of asking for help. And I want to break that down for the audience, right, and help them understand kind of what that looked like for us. One, guys, we've put ourselves in rooms with high-level thinkers, high-level entrepreneurs. We've invested to be in these rooms. And when you get in these rooms, sometimes you go and you may be a little intimidated. Sometimes you may go and say, man, like, I don't feel like I belong here. I'm barely scratching the surface of making six figures, and this guy's making $5-10 million a year. But when that guy who's making $5 to $10 million a year comes and asks you for help in the area where you're strong at, and you just and you're able to see, like, man, it's not about the money. It's not about the success. It's about, hey, who has the information that I need, and I'm going to ask them for that information so I can continue to grow and get to the next level. So for me and for both of us, that was just one thing that was one thing that exposed us to show like, man, like even successful people ask for help.
Yes.
You're not gonna have it all figured out.
Yeah. Now that's real game right there, guys. We would be in some of these masterminds, sitting there intimidated, wanting to ask people for help, wanting to ask for things, and just sitting there quiet. And we got exposed to when just people like Josh said coming up to us and like, oh wow, and just realizing like, okay, that was another breaking point in our life that really changed the trajectory of our life outside of Beth, helping us understand how critical it is. And this guys, I'm telling you, this is going to be an episode where a lot of people are going to listen to this and start realizing like, man, I've been doing life wrong. I've been trying to figure everything out by myself. Guys, you don't have to do that. The Bible tells you have not because you ask not.
Yeah. Another story that I want to share was something for me personally. This has nothing to do with the business. So if you guys don't know, I'm a father to 3 beautiful girls. Malia is 12, Ava is 7, and Riley is 1. She'll be 2 in August of this year. And most people, parenting is that one thing that you just don't know, right? It's one thing, there's no manual to how to parent a child. And for me, and the reason I gave you guys their ages is because they're all at different points in their lives. They have different personality traits. They have different wants and needs. Their emotions are at different states. So essentially, I'm having to parent, completely differently to all to my 3 daughters. And Malia, who's my oldest, she's a preteen. And to anybody that is a parent to a preteen, my struggles. And she's at a point now where she's talking back more. She's catching the attitude. She's not in control of her emotions. And for me, that was hard. Like I didn't understand how to deal with it. And one of our good friends, shout out to Jen, I go and I talk to her because I feel like she's a great parent and how she's parented her kids. And Jen is a little older than us. And I'm asking her, hey, here's what she's doing. How should I respond? Here's what's happening. How should I respond to this? Or how should I handle this situation? And Jen, just by asking for help and being vulnerable and sharing with Jen some of the things that I've been struggling with, she's helped me become a better parent. Now my relationship with Malia is much better simply because I asked for help. Now I don't have to sit there and feel guilty about whether I'm a good parent or not. So, man, 1, shout out to Jen, but 2, guys, like that's something that personally happened to me, and it's just showing you guys the power in asking for help.
Yeah. So one of the things that I want to talk about is helping people, what I call the keys to victory. Our high school coach used to say keys to victory. And I want to break down some keys for you guys that are some things that you must do when you're asking for help. And we've mentioned this a couple times, but the number one thing that you have to do is be vulnerable. When you're asking for help, you have to be vulnerable. The only way that somebody can give you their best piece of advice or give you the best resource that you need for your exact situation is if you are vulnerable. Meaning you got to put it all out there. Don't try to hide anything from anybody. Understand that everybody goes through problems. Everybody goes through issues, and you're no different. So when you are asking for help and you're trying to get people bits and pieces, you're only doing yourself a disservice and you're not getting the full benefit of everything that you could be getting. So the first key that you need to understand is be vulnerable when you ask for help.
Another key to victory, and that you mentioned earlier, was you have to change your mindset and realize that you're not bothering people. For so long, that hindered Jerm and I. We always said we didn't want to bother somebody. And you're not bothering someone unless they tell you they're bothering you. People want to help you whether you know it or not. It's innately who we are as people, right? You may have some, asshole people out there that may say no, but don't let that stop you from asking for help. And again, understand that you're not bothering people.
Guys, the next key that you need to understand is that everyone is, whoever you ask for help, they are giving you their own opinion. So when you ask for them for the help, they're giving you their own opinion, or they will give you an experience share. So there's 2 different ways when you're asking for somebody for something that you can go about it. Say, hey, I want either your opinion on this, or I want you to share an experience of something that was similar to what I'm asking about. And you get 2 different answers. But the biggest thing that I want to touch on is, remember, everybody has an opinion. So just take it as it may be and do with it, analyze it, and then do with it what you think the best thing is to do with it. So just understand those two points when you're asking for help.
Another key is don't waste people's time. So when you ask for help, the information or the advice that they give you, make sure you put that advice to use. Right? People don't want to give you advice and spend their time giving you advice and helping you, and then they ask you a week later, 2 weeks later, a month later, did you use the advice that they gave you? And you say no. So guys, don't waste people's time. Ensure that you're putting that information to use.
Got you. So last things, any tips? You got any tips for people when they're going out to ask for help?
One, understand that people are giving you advice or people are giving you they're giving you advice based on their experience. And that's one thing that I had to learn. And that personally was a lesson for myself. So I was married before. I've said this before in previous episodes. I was married before and I went through a divorce. And during my time of me going through my divorce and probably a year or two after my divorce, I was an advocate for telling people, hey, don't get married. Marriage is a bad thing. You shouldn't do it. And at the time, it was just me giving people advice based on my experience. My marriage was bad. My marriage failed. So because of my bad experiences, that's the advice that I was giving to people, and it was the wrong advice. So when someone is giving you guys advice or giving you an experience share, and that's simply what it is. It's an experience share. You should take that information, you should dissect it, and see how that can or cannot apply to your life.
Facts. That's a great tip. You got to understand where people are coming from, because sometimes I think people mean well, but they also sometimes come from their own opinion and their experience. Josh used to tell everybody, don't get married. Don't do it. It's the worst thing ever. And that's coming from somebody who came out of not a marriage that wasn't good. So you got to be careful when you do ask for help, and just understand that, like I said, one of the keys is when somebody gives you their opinion, take it, analyze it, and see if it applies to your life in the manner in which you want to apply it in.
And then too, I look at myself and life and experiences forces you to change your belief system. The things that I've been through, the things that you've been through have shaped you to who you are today. They help you shape your thought process. I listened to some of our past episodes, so some of the past interviews we did on people's podcasts 3-4 years ago, and I'm asking myself, what the hell was I talking about? It don't make no sense, But understanding that people grow through life, and then those experiences shape you. So for you guys that are listening, understand that. Again, I want to make sure I drive that point home, because I know when I was telling people not to get married, I was doing a lot of people a disservice. So just to bring that point home, understand, guys, that when people are giving you that advice, when people are sharing their opinion, it's just based off their experience. So you got to take their experience into consideration when they're giving you advice.
Facts. So anything else that you want to add to the conversation, or I'll ask you for help?
No.
Guys, I think, take this episode and apply it to your life, because this is something that has been a huge superpower of ours over the last couple of years. And thankfully for us, we have somebody, Beth, who has drilled this into our brain. And we've said it multiple times, how asking for help needs to be, you need to work that muscle. You need to put it into use as often as possible, because it's not a bad thing. So take this advice, use it, and go out and grow. Guys, as you know, we have our gentleman's agreement. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. If you're listening on the podcast players like Apple or Spotify, hit that follow button. Leave us 5 stars. It helps the show continue to grow. And guys, expose somebody to this episode so that they can go out and make asking for help their superpower. Expose and expand. Peace.
Expose and expand. Peace.